Good evening, friends. Welcome once again for Inspiring Conversations. The guest for the evening today is another interesting personality who is a renowned personality nationally and internationally. She is none other than Prema Sagar. Prema is the founder of Genesis Public Relations, which was established in the November of 1992. Prema has completed her studies from the Frank Jeffkins Institute, UK. She launched the firm at the advent of the economic reforms in India with just one client and one colleague, and is now India's most trusted public relation and affair firm. She is also a member of Burson Marsteller's recently formed APAC Senior Executive Leadership Team, the founder president of the Public Relations Consultants Association in India, an organization that encourages the sharing of best practices in the industry. As an entrepreneur, Prema is also a part of TIE, the world's largest not-for-profit organization promoting entrepreneurship.
She ranks herself in the top 50 influential women by Impact magazine in the field of advertisement and marketing. The first Indian to be invited at the Cannes Lions International Advertising Festival. Her name is in the ICCO Hall of Fame. She is on the advisory council of Doctors Without Borders and trustee of Zaria Foundation, a Swiss non-profit organization that is spreading Mother Teresa's message.
Prema Sagar is also the founder of the Outstanding Speakers Bureau, which is a platform to address a pressing requirement by the corporate world for information, insights and inspiration, especially in these turbulent times. The Outstanding Speakers Bureau represents a range of speakers who deliver insightful content with impact across domains and expertise areas. She has also created a trust on the footsteps of Mother Teresa to help the underprivileged children by the name of Genesis Foundation.
Auntie Prema, thanks for the Genesis Foundation, which takes care of children's treatment. May God bless you in abundance.
So friends, let's put our hands together and welcome a true social entrepreneur, Miss Prema Sagar. Well, she's a very fantastic personality and you'll hear a lot about what she does. More importantly on how she does the business. It's being a very interesting journey. Let's begin, Prema. So friends, like all we heard about the Genesis, the public relations company, I would like to ask Prema on why did you select PR as a line of business? We all heard it that she started it after 1991, the liberalization that took place in terms of licensing. Manmohan Singh was the finance minister and he did that. And you launched in the November of 1992. So what were the parameters that made you decide, get into this line of business, public relations?
First and foremost, thank you very much, Rajesh, for inviting me. I think what Rajesh has achieved in life, I mean, I'm not even a drop in the ocean. And we are...
I would love to believe that.
No, you really have. And you really have. I won't go down that road about, how much people do feel very proud of what his achievements are. So what I've tried to do in my life is not anything compared to yours. So not at all. The scale of things and what you've done to society.
Yeah, Prema, I am aware about your scales.
The ones I stand on? That's a tough one.
So friends, she is very quick with her replies. You really need to hear her well. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I must tell you that before public relations, when I got married, I ran away from home and got married to a lawyer, which is quite dangerous, but it has been good for me. I ran away at the age of 22. I want to just go back a little bit just to give you the perspective, is that my father was in the Indian Air Force, a very tough, disciplined man. He was actually from Larkana, but he crossed over when the whole Pakistan-India thing happened. So he joined the Indian Air Force. And he grew to be the number 2 person. So I was proud of him, but he was a very difficult man. He married a Swiss woman. And interestingly, she caught a ship and came to India to marry this man. She's around. She's alive in Gurgaon at 84, keeping well, been twice over in cancer. My father passed away of cancer a little while ago. Having done that, having him married a Swiss, he didn't want me to marry who I wanted to marry. He didn't want me to marry anybody, actually, you know. So I just ran away one day, and I was 22 and a half, and my husband was just a little older, maybe by 6 months. And the entire Indian Air Force said, poor Air Marshal, he's got this daughter who's just, wacko. And I must say that's where the journey started. Everything that I wanted to do in life, he said, no, you can't. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go out, you can't go home. Now, Jyoti, who is my husband, when we got married, the first thing he would say is, I would say, and I'm going to do this. And he say, okay, that's all right. I mean, why are you getting so worked up? So that's where this whole thing comes from, is that I have a very disciplined person in my mother because of the way the Swiss people are, and my father because of the military. So you can imagine what a childhood I had was strictness, is discipline. And now I say the same thing. I say that this country needs discipline. We just have no discipline on the roads, in the homes, in the office. We have no perception of what we should be doing, how we should be doing, when we should be doing. So I think that grew up in the DNA of, these two people having got married and me being born. So after I got married and my son Rahul was born, he was not even 1.5 years old, and Jyoti and me were sitting outside in the garden having tea, and he still drinks 1 cup tea and I still drink 1 cup coffee. I thought I would change him to be a coffee drinker, and so we are very, very different people, my husband and me, and that's why we've survived some 37 years nicely.
Just a small interruption. Her husband is Jyoti Sagar, and Jyoti Sagar is J. Sagar and Associates, which is India's one of the largest law firms. And this is the firm, any large corporate which has come into India have not come into India without being legally assisted by J. Sagar and Associates. So he coincidentally happens to be her husband.
Yeah, well, yes. Everyone says, oh, don't you know Jyoti? Somebody's introducing me to someone and saying, oh, she is Jyoti Sagar's wife. Nobody says Jyoti is Prema's husband. Why is it? I don't know.
That's the reason you started the PR business?
So going back, we are sitting having this tea outside, that tea and coffee. And I said, I'm going to start a printing press. I think you don't know about that part. Okay. So I said, I'm going to start a printing press. And Jyoti says, So he said, how are you going to do that? So I said, I'm just going to buy a machine. And I'm going to set it up in Okhla. And I'm going to run a business. So he said, and where will the money come from? I said, I don't know. We didn't even have 100 rupees extra, because our money used to run out at the 20th of the month. And we used to then use whatever dal and whatever roti and whatever was there. We didn't buy many vegetables in the last 10 days. So that's how life was, and there was no complaint about it. People, never complained. You just lived with whatever you had. So I did start the printing press. And my father stopped talking to me. And he said, we are Amils. Anybody Sindhi here? Amils means you come from the services background. You only work in the service sector and not be a business person. He said, we are Amils. We cannot be business people. I said, I'm not asking you to. I'm doing it. So my father stopped talking to me once again. And I was married at that time. So I said, I had to register the company. So I was told that you have to give 20 names, and then your name is chosen or not chosen. Why did I use this word Genesis? And you must be wondering, because people used to call me Mrs. Genesis. When I used to go to collect my check from a client, the finance guy would say, Mrs. Genesis has come. They didn't know me as Sagar, you know. So they thought Genesis was my surname, because you put your surname onto, you know, all these businesses that you start. So I said, okay, it doesn't matter what you call me as long as I get my check. But Genesis was because my father said that, you know, we are not business people. And I said, so I really don't care if I'm the first person in the family to do business, I'm going to do it. And so that's the beginning. Like Genesis means the beginning of life. This was beginning of my life, you know. And that's how the name Genesis came.
So you're a, well, this goes on video, so I can't comment negatively. But you were motivated by your father. You exactly did what he told you not to do.
Yes,
So
that is true.
That's fantastic negative motivation.
I only admit it now.
Genesis is one of the largest firms today in this country for public relations. 90% of the clientele is corporates. A couple of months back, we had participated in TOIFA, the Times of India Awards in Vancouver. And I was shocked to see that Genesis was the PR agency of Times of India. How can anybody become a PR agency of a news publication, and that too of Times of India? So that's the kind of the expertise that Genesis wields. Prema, we would like to know, in 2005 something dramatic happened in your life and in the life of Genesis. And a collaboration happened, a strategic alliance happened. You all got in strategic alliance with Burst and Marsteller. This is one of the world's largest PR agency, having offices in every part of the world. So how did that happen? Why did it happen? And what were your thoughts behind that strategic alliance?
Yeah, so basically we started this company, Public Relations, in the basement of in a basement with, I had one peon, one colleague and myself. So this was a subject which was not known in India. So when somebody said, will you come and tell us what is public, how we can partner, how can we be a client of yours, because the country was opening up and people wanted to have badges. You know, we want a McKinsey, we need a public relations company and a financial consultant. So I said, so do you know what public relations is? No. But you want it? Yes. So I said, okay, so let's tell you first what is public relations. Now having done that, people started believing in what I was teaching them first. And then came the contract. So the one learning is that it's not about money. Money follows good work. And so it was never about how much I'm going to get out of a client. It is how much are you going to do for the client? What impact are you going to make? And I think maybe that's the reason why we grew faster. And when we grew, so one day I told one of my colleagues, why don't you just go to Bombay and start an office? And the other one, I said, go to Bangalore and start an office. I'm going on a holiday. It's been a long time. I'm going, kids are small. And when I came back, actually they'd opened the offices. And I mean, I'm so informal in the way you're going to hear about this particular entrepreneurship. Normally people have strategy and whatever. I can tell you there's no such thing as strategy in this world. It is about getting clients, retaining clients, and growing the clients. And if you do that, your people, if you retain people, you grow with the people and let the people grow with you, then you are going to succeed. There's no other way. If you're looking purely at, okay, now I have to get so many million rupees, it's not going to happen. You can have a plan that this is what you want to achieve. But if it is the aim to just make money in services particular, if you're creating soap and surf and whatever else, that you can do for a consumer part. But when you're in a service industry, you have to provide value, and that was my learning. And now, why did I go to Burson Marsteller in New York? I wanted to leapfrog the learning. I did not want to start with ABC. I wanted to start with PQRS. I wanted to do what nobody else was doing. And why should we learn the hard way of doing mistakes? Let's go to New York. Let's go to a conference in Switzerland at that time. And I learned what they should not do, what we should not do, because they were making mistakes. So that was the one big thing for us, is that the leapfrogging of learning from Burson Marsteller. Harold Burson is 93 as of few days ago. He's still alive. He still goes to office every day. And he still goes to clients and gives them advice. Coca-Cola is still his client for some 43 years. So it tells you something about a person who is up to date at 93, understands social media, and is giving advice as per this now, where the things have changed so much. So then I felt one day that we should partner with them so that globally we can learn faster, quicker, we can exchange people, that kind of thing. So that's how the partnership started. So I always say that you have to first get engaged, and obviously, and then get married. I didn't get engaged, I just got married, ran away. But but I do believe that you need an engagement. You do need to know each other well. The culture is more important. And though I met about 5, 6 global firms, the ones that I really matched culturally was Burson Marsteller. And so we became affiliates. And then 5 years after that, we went into a relationship where they wanted to buy equity from us. So that's what happened.
Fantastic. I think this is a wonderful takeaway. Just leapfrogging your growth. Otherwise, in organic process, you take ages to reach that scale. So just, if you can't beat them, join them. They are larger than you. Make them your partners. Do a strategic alliance. Genesis is today operating in more than 200 cities of this country. They've got large 6 offices across the country in all the major metros. And apart from that, their Delhi office, Prema's Delhi office, is something which is a must-see for all of us. It's a massive, huge office with some fantastic happy culture in the office. There is an air of happiness in the environment of the office. It's a must-see, and I'm sure each one of us sitting in over here will definitely give you the privilege of having a cup of tea with them in your office. Very soon.
Welcome.
Very soon. I think this is a good takeaway. The strategic alliance made her go to every part of the world. So automatically you're tied up with an affiliation which has opened international doors to you. So any foreign clients coming into India, they are handled by Prema Sagar and her team. And any clients from India, if they want to do business abroad, I'm sure Burson Marsteller must be doing a brilliant job. And anyways, Indian companies are today shopping companies abroad. So they need services of professionals like Burson Marsteller. So I think that was a wonderful step and a wonderful strategy. What is it different that you do, Prema? Because there are so many PR organizations in this country. At least I know the top 4 or 5 of them. And what is it different that you do in terms of servicing your clients? Because all your clients are large corporates. 90% are multinationals and corporates. So what is the difference that you create which attracts them to you and they retain their services with you?
So we didn't want to be, going out and giving press releases to media. Yeah, that's one small part of it. So what we learned very quickly was that if you don't have a strategy, sending out a press release doesn't make sense, or doing a press conference doesn't make sense. There has to be a purpose behind that. So if you are going to develop a strategy in public relations, first and foremost, you must know the environment in which you're operating. So what is the economic and political and social environment? What is, supposing, let's take an engineering company, for example, what is it that they are doing and not doing? What is the policies of the government, first and foremost? So once you have all that background work done, then you say, okay, how will I take this client and make it different from everybody else? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Internally, how are they in terms of, for example, their people? So you actually do an internal survey. And then you'd say, how are your people ready to be successful externally? So when you do internal communications, when you get everybody aligned, then only should you be doing external communications. And external communications could be talking to government, talking to media, talking to doctors, talking to engineers, talking to anybody who's the audience, who's the consumer, who are the people who support you in business. So unfortunately, a lot of the companies just do media relations. Media is one of the channels of communication. People with expertise are the other channels of communication. For example, let me give you an example. In healthcare, you have to talk to doctors, you have to talk to reps, you have to talk to media, you have to talk through digital now, you have to also talk to government because all the policies are made by the government on healthcare, or not made, which should be made. So you have to do a 360-degree to succeed. So that is exactly how we sort of got the strategy. And so I still remember one of my competitor invited me for lunch and he said, yeah, what is the strategy? I don't understand. He said to me, he was a tech PR company. And he said to me, what is the strategy? So I said, what is your strategy? What do you do for your clients? We have a list of the media that we need to go to. So I actually presented a few case studies to him and said, look, this is what you have to do. He says, I don't do all of this. I charge 100,000 per month per whoever it is who comes to me, and that's what I do. So I said, okay, that's your strategy, that's fine. But for us, it is important. It could be 5 lakhs a month, it can be 2 lakhs a month. It means what is the service you're going to provide and what is it going to cost. And it is not, and what you're going to measure and as a result. So what we started in India was a measurement company to measure the impact of what you've done. You don't just want to say, oh, it came in the media. Did it go to the audience? If you are the audience, and I'm telling somebody else in some other part of this, the city, it's of no use. Just because it was in the newspaper, it doesn't mean that it made an impact. So how do you make? So the company, the measurement company where I've invested 50%, is a measurement company. So it's at an arm's length, the former McKinsey guy who actually runs that company. And we're doing it for all kinds of companies, not just corporate, for political parties and, you know, for a lot of the healthcare in the rural areas. You know that we are the capital, India is the capital of typhoid and tuberculosis, and nobody is doing anything about it. So we are going to do a next wave going forward on healthcare in a big way from a policy side, from a media side of understanding what are the issues, partnering with media to talk about these issues which are, and cancer is one of them as well. So India is going through a very tough time. So these are the things. What is the strategy for, say, tuberculosis? I have a colleague who just went through tuberculosis of the heart, of the lining of the heart, and she almost died, and she was unwell for 1 year. She's come out of it, but nobody knows where to go, how to do it, what should we be looking at. We go to the net and we start doing our own research, and that's really very dangerous. So we are trying to change that in the coming 1.5 years. So
I think one of the very successful strategies that you have implemented is impact measurement. But there is also another first that your company has done, which is a concept called the live media room. So can you please explain to the audience of what is the importance and what advantage did you get? What leadership advantage did it give you for your organization in the industry, in the media industry, the live media room?
So the live media room is a room like this, and you've got a whole wall of televisions and a whole wall of televisions, and there are people sitting in the middle on the table on bean bags, whatever, because all the young people say, don't give us tables and chairs, give us bean bags. Okay, you'll have bean bags. So they've got all of this. Now, so if you're my client, and I'm telling you tomorrow what happened today, you're going to say, you know, it doesn't help because that situation has passed. So in today's, everything is real time. Everything is here and now. Twitter is like going crazy. And then there's Facebook where there's this whole emotion coming out. And then there is all this LinkedIn and there's all the other viral videos which you make and all of that. So all of these things could be good, could be bad, could be ugly. So what we felt is that this is and the only thing I'm really proud of is that this is the first in the world globally. So we call it the GBM newsroom. And what do is when news is happening, it first hits online, which means on websites, and it hits Twitter and social media. And anybody who has questions must ask me at some point. And then it goes to television. Now in television is picking it up from online and social media. And they are writing breaking news. And they don't have the right breaking news. Sometimes it is not even in sync with what is the stuff. And everybody is nodding. So now we do a ticker news. We do a breaking news. We send it out for that breaking news so that they get the right, content. Because they are also competing with each other. They want to put out the information immediately, but sometimes they don't see that, it's not quite right. And then it goes to print. And print means national, regional, international. Now you think sitting in that room, how are you going to know all of this? So we've got groups of people who are sitting there, who are watching social media and letting you know, okay, client X, the policy has changed. We let them know real time. Sometimes it is a crisis. We do a lot of issues and crisis, a lot of them. We live by issues and crisis because every client is going through chaos at the moment. If you're in the coal sector, if you're in the engineering sector, you're in the healthcare sector, you're in the consumer, like we have, food and beverages, you've got some lizard in the food and that is on the television and everything comes on in front of your eyes. So how are you going to, manage this? I know that in one of our clients, which is a multinational, very big one, they had an issue in Kerala. Now they had this situation where there was lizard in the food. And so now we've learned so much by television, through television, is that we found that the televisions in the restaurant, this guy came in with a packet, with a dead lizard, and he put the food onto the plate with this thing, and it was all on camera. So earlier we would go running with, a press release and, we are checking what's happened. Now we know it real time. So just like that, we said we need our own real time for our clients. When news is breaking and it's not right, we must stop it immediately. It is in the New York Times within minutes because it's online too. The online New York is carrying news about India, about PepsiCo in India, within minutes, within seconds. So we have to be real time. And we said, now how are we going to do it? Do you know India is growing in print media, television media, social media, everything is growing. So how many will we track? We have over 200 television in different languages. Now that's another challenge. So we said, so let's do the English, Hindi to start with, and then go into the regional. So the complexity is huge, actually. It's no more just sending a press release.
So what you have achieved over your competition is your response time on how quickly you can get back to your customer. So it's no more just servicing a client, but it is more of servicing it on timing, servicing it on response time. And probably that must be addicting your customers to stay tuned to you. And probably this is not something that other agencies are doing. So it's a cutting edge technology for you to stay ahead of competition, isn't it?
Absolutely. They're going to do the same, but it'll take them time to figure it out.
So by the time they do it, you will probably innovate on something more. So it was your impact measurement, then it is your live media room. I'm sure you must be having some more missiles up your sleeve, and by the time your competition comes up to live media room, you'll be on to something more.
Another planet.
What I would also like to ask you is that services sector is totally dependent on the quality of people you have. And the second challenge is when you have quality people with you, leading them or leadership issues on quality-based people is more challenging. So how do you do talent management in your organization? You have got your own personal team of 275 professionals. So how do you do talent management with them? How do you motivate them? How do you retain them? And how do you give them directions to perform?
That's always a big challenge. I think we started like a family, and we are still a family. We started in a basement, and we still have that attitude that, you know, anybody and everybody has to do whatever it takes. And I was just speaking earlier, was that everybody talks about a job description. And I think you did get amused by that. So a job description means you're going to do A and she's going to do B and C and you're going to do D. So there's a crisis that happens. Half the people are not in the team. So does that mean then you don't do that job because it's her job, she's not here and something. I said, you know, let's forget all these titles and forget about job description. When we're a startup, everybody jumps in and does whatever it takes. And now because we are 275 people, there are job descriptions. That means then that person is only going to do that job, not any other job. So what I've changed around is that you need expertise. You can do any job, but what are you expert in? Are you an expert in nutrition? Is it that you understand technology? Do you understand brands, which is a completely different thing, doing brands? Do you understand engineering? In fact, we have a team that does only education. So then there is entertainment. We do Colors Channel, for example. That is another different way of doing PR and another kind of people who do it. So we ask people, what is it that makes you feel good? Do you feel good in healthcare? Do you feel in what? If you have expertise of media, or do you have expertise of strategy, or do you have expertise on domain? Is the expertise about healthcare, or is it about technology? So we turned everything upside down at the moment. And I know that this will succeed because what clients want is important and they want expertise. Do you understand my business is what the question is. And we want to say, no, let me tell you what I'll do for you. I don't think, the service sector should be working like that. At the end of it, you have to have the client in the center and see what is it that they need. And then only we should think about how we structure our organization.
Along with responsibility that you shift to your team members, what kind of authority do you delegate to your members, team members, so that they can perform better? So what is the kind of authority that you give them? I also am aware of a fact that there are people in your team which are there with you right from the day that you started the organization. So there are people who have been devoting the last 21 years, last 20 years, last more than a decade. So a lot of people are there. So have they been there with you? First is because of the happiness of the environment. Second is because you are giving them work what is suiting their aptitude. So when you enjoy your work, life is a picnic. So that's what you are creating an environment for them. And third is, are you giving them authority which is making them enjoy being with you? What is it?
I really don't know the answer. I really don't know, because I always say, I think that's one thing that God has really blessed us with. Because the people, a majority of the people have come from the startup stage. And they've been now 20 years, 18 years, all these years that as we've grown. I don't really know what it is, but I think it is because there's no angst in there. There's no shouting at anybody. There is respect for each other. And the people we respect the most are the people who are in our cafeterias. We have some nice cafeterias inside and make it very cool and, make it informal, but so that you feel comfortable to be here. And there is a lot of respect, because I always say that the only thing you own is your respect. If a client doesn't give us respect, we resign the client. No question about it. No abuse, no bad words, no anger, none of that. I abhor negativity. So nobody comes and says, this can't happen. I just tell them, out, go and think, because you are your own boss. You must know what you have to do. You can make a mistake, but you can't make that all the time, of course. But you can do it once, maybe twice, not thrice. So I think people feel that they are part of the organization or what it is. And I do believe that money is not the end, with it for us. It has never been. In the services, we never had more than $10, so we were very happy with that, and we are still happy with it today. And I believe that when you chase money, you don't get it. So I think maybe some of those kind of people joined us.
As an entrepreneur, you have always been a risk taker, like any entrepreneur does through his journey of doing business. And when you launched your Bombay office 21 years back, and at that time you gave the responsibility and the authority to a youngster who was hardly 24 years of age at that time. So weren't you scared that this girl is just a fresher MBA and whether she'll perform or not? What were the thoughts that went in your mind at that time when you gave such an important, big responsibility to a very young person?
Her commitment was huge.
You could read that?
Yes, very much so.
And you are confident that she will succeed?
Yes, you should go into her office and see her. She's Deepshikha, and she was moved at the age of 24. And I was wondering when my daughter became 24, geez, I wouldn't trust my daughter to open that office. But that's the problem with us. We think our own kids are useless at 24. They have not achieved anything. And I think that's why my father also thought I was the same. But I had a lot of respect for Deepshikha. So she definitely did a fantastic job. But I must tell you a little story where Irfan Khan from Unilever said, Prema, she's very young. Do you think that, you can come for the meetings? I said, I'll come for the first one. If you're not happy, then I will have to come again and again. I came once. He never called me again. So it proved to me that my risk of her being successful. And I think she felt that she had this burden. And there was a huge commitment to herself. It's first you have to commit to yourself before you even commit to anybody else, that I have to be proud of what I do. And so I must not fail. And the thing with people, a lot of the people in the organization is that when they start feeling they feel uncomfortable to make a mistake, then it's not good. But in a way, it's also good that she's so doubly careful that, I don't want to let the company down. So I think these are the little things. I mean, I don't have any big strategies or anything. I just believe that we have to do good work. And we have the good people. And there's a saying in the organization that those who don't fit into this environment, and there are those, they get self-ejected in 3 months.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice method. Prema, what has been your personal strength as an entrepreneur? Is it convincing and negotiations? Because at least 2 occasions I know where you really did a good job. First was running away with Jyoti and getting married. And second was convincing one of the largest company in the world to partner with you, to have a strategic alliance, to, take stock options. So how did you do that? So is that one of your biggest strengths, that you can convince the opposite person to believe in what you want to decide for them? What is it?
No answer. I think it's destiny.
Is that so simple? And how do you create your own?
My mother says I was born this way and I will always be this way. So whichever way she thinks I am.
So it's beneficial to have a Swiss mother. And I'm sure the Swiss bank account comes as a part of the asset.
No Swiss bank account. I wish there was.
Anyways, I think that was pretty interesting. That's Prema Sagar for you, a very down-to-earth personality who is doing a brilliant job nationally and internationally, who has been a successful entrepreneur. She rubs shoulders with the most powerful corporates in this country, very deep with knowledge, because you can't do a PR strategy without understanding the industrialist or the corporate and without understanding their business model. So she is loaded with knowledge and it's all ours as long as she is in this room. So you can always ask a question and take what you want to know from her. She has to answer. She's on camera.
We'll try.
Prema Sagar is also a very social person. I have not touched that part of her because we are short on time and I wanted more questions to be addressed to the way she does the business. But she runs Genesis Foundation, which is very close to her heart, and she has got some very innovative strategies which she adapts. Once in a year, she conducts activities where all the corporates come together. Very shortly, there is going to be an event in Bombay at the Maratha Sheraton, where the CEOs and CXOs of all the powerful corporates of this country, they come and they sing and they dance and they raise funds which go for the medical treatments of children, which is supported by Genesis Foundation. Social entrepreneurship is a part of her life, and I think at this point of her life, she is more focused towards social entrepreneurship, and her business model is on an auto mode. For a lady who started with her discussion saying that she didn't have money to start a printing press, is today, by the grace of God and definitely the grace of all our clients, especially corporates, she is absolutely well placed, staying in a house which most of us would love to live in. She eats food which is grown on her own farms, and you can imagine having your own farms around Delhi. The land is more expensive than what it produces. In such a place, in such a situation she lives in, whatever you can think of and dream of is already there with her. But still, she is the same warm lady with a warm heart, with a very good team of people and a very good client list with whom they are not her clients, but they are an extension of her family. I have witnessed this with my own eyes, where the corporates that we see on the televisions and the newspapers, most of the times thanks to you also, they sing and dance, and they are so passionate about the activity that she is doing, and that activity has really become very, very large. So, Prema, hats off to you. India needs more of Prema Sagars, and I'm sure the good work that you do is going to grow multifold. Friends, let us all start asking questions. You are married just recently, just last week he got married, and he still has the courage to ask questions.
He obviously has a nice wife.
Yes, Sidhu.
Good evening, ma'am. You said that with you, your employees should also grow. So, how do you make that happen? Do you share profits, or do you give them some new business opportunity, or like how do you motivate them or make them grow with you?
Yeah, it's all of that. You know, it all goes together. So, I don't know. I really don't know, because it's never been about money. It's been about they want challenge. A lot of people want challenge. They want to do bigger jobs. They want to do, you know, and therefore when they do that well, then they get more money. And when I even till today, I don't look at the finances. I hate that. I hate looking at numbers. I'm very happy to have a CFO who's very capable, and I'm pretty okay with that. I just said that never any bounce of a check should ever happen, even when we were in the first year of our business. I said, and first come our staff, our lower staff, are the best staff. They've been with me right from the very beginning. They are known. I love the way the people talk to the support staff by saying, Kamal ji, chai pee sakte hain, ye kar sakte hain, wo kar sakte hain. Whatever it is that there is, that respect. I think people want to be respected, and people want challenges, and then comes the money. For those who want money, they come to the wrong place. They've really come to the wrong place. Because if they are going to say that this is what my demand is, then I don't think he or she belongs to us. Because it's a philosophy. It's the kind of way in which the organization is structured, the way it is about the culture, and therefore the joy of doing business is important.
Respect is actually the growth?
Well, I really don't know what to say, whether it is respect. Yes, I think so. I think so. Who wants to be, who wants to be spoken badly? Who wants, to be put down all the time? Nobody. I wouldn't want it. So why should I do it to somebody else? So, I'll tell you a little story again. It was that, my father again comes into the picture. When I went to him and I said, everybody goes to a mandir or, to the church or to the whatever, masjid and all of that. You don't take us anywhere. So he said, you sit down and listen to me. And I'm saying that all religions tell you the same thing, to be good. To be good to others, and then they'll be good to you. I was very unhappy with that. Because everybody went somewhere on a Sunday with their parents to the mandir or whatever, and we were nowhere. We were just hanging around. So when my son was born, he came to me with the same question, where, who are we, what are we? So I said, sit down. All religions teach you the same thing. And then I was also, I was a special police officer, and that was for some time. I was a special police officer and a traffic warden because I hated the way the traffic was. So I used to chase people down and, sort of challan them. And then I was a special police officer and I was asked to speak to the police. So I said, what do you want me to speak? So they said, on community and harmony. So I said, oh God, okay. And try to do that in Hindi. And so it was a mix of Hindi and English. The only thing that I would say over there, and I think these things all add up in your life, is that it comes from, community comes from commune and how you live together. People lived together on streets, then people started living in communities, and then it became cities, and then it became countries, and then they all hated each other because this street was richer than that street, and this community was different from that one. And that's where all the chaos has started in the world. And I don't want my children, and I thank my father for some of these things, is that it doesn't matter who you are. It is what you are, but who you are, as a person. So I think maybe that is helpful. Because you do see companies who take a particular sector of society, so that's not nice. And I think that is one of the learnings that I had from my dad.
Lovely, lovely. I think for our children or our daughters to become as successful as Prema Sagar, we need to treat our children the way her father treated her. Is that the message?
Maybe.
Yes, Ishwar. Yes.
So, I see you like a coconut, very hard from the outer because you have been a rebellion, and very soft inside because you are talking lots of human values and community values. How do you see living like a rebellion in early days, and what transformed you to become soft and tender that you come across right now?
Maybe you should ask my colleagues. I think that they think that I'm still a rebellion, yeah. There's no such thing that can't do, and there's no such thing that when I want to do something, I will do. And sometimes I'm cautioned by my colleagues saying, do you really want to do this? And I say, yep, absolutely. And there's no going back. It has to be successful. There's no two ways. There's only one way, and that's one way is success. And I must say that a lot of them have become like entrepreneurs in the organization. And as I was saying is, there are the structure of this organization, and there's a structure to everything. You can't be indisciplined. There has to be a structure. People should know what that structure is. And so there are two businesses. One is public relations, and one is public affairs. Now, public affairs focuses on advocacy and government. And advocacy is our doctors and all of the people who are the surround sound on the subject. And public relations, as you know, is a lot of media. So within that structure, we have the consumer practice, we have the corporate practice, telecom and technology practice, and the health and wellness practice. So having done that, I felt that the expertise is not coming out. So we'll do centers of excellence. Now, digital had come alive, right? Everybody knows about digital and social and all of that. Now, not everybody knows what digital is. And it's only one channel of communication. We understand television. We didn't understand it when it came. So print we understand television. We don't understand social media. And if you actually sit down to do social media properly, it's complex. So we said, okay, we created a center of excellence of digital. We created corporate social responsibility. You know the Companies Act has changed. And now companies have to give a percentage of their net profit to CSR. So now it's a very complex subject. You need experts to be able to advise our clients on CSR. Then we have Content and Design Bureau, because content is king now. It's not the channel. Earlier it was the channel. Is it television? Is it social? Is it what? Now it is all about content and storytelling. Nobody wants to read a McKinsey book or article. You want a story to be told, that this is how this person achieved that, or this company achieved that. You want to listen to the stories and not about, it's about experiential learning. If you had somebody from one of our speakers bureau, which is something that we have, and he's part of it, is that, like, he came to our office, Rajesh came, and he spoke about, all that we have today is because where India is. It's about what we've achieved is because of India. And he gave a very, very positive story. And the whole room was negative before that. Because there's corruption, there's this, there's that, and all the rest of it. There's stress, there's long hours, there's roads and traffic, and all so much of that. So he said that, look where we are today. We are because of the way India is and is going to be. So all of these things are, all transitional, and they're moving every minute. Everybody's going through it. So the Speakers Bureau is part of this experiential learning. And now what we are doing is that creating these centers of excellence is adding new services also to our clients. So our clients not just do public relations, and they do also government relations, and then they also do CSR, and we do digital, and we keep adding services because it's evolving. So there are many.
So your organizational setup is basically like a manufacturing unit where you have created specializations, like how you have specializations in a factory. So the assembling plant. So you have done that in services, and that has dramatically helped your organization. So I think that is very nice, adapting the manufacturing systems to your services sector. And like a tough lady that she speaks, that there is only one way, and that one way is success. There is no other way but to succeed. And if anybody challenges whether you can do this or you can't do this, if you say that you can't do this, you take it more head on, and you make sure that you do that. So that rebel is still there, and the softness and hardness combination from the outside and the inside leads you to success. That's what you would like to say.
I'll be nice to the people who have to support me to achieve what we have to achieve.
Otherwise, you show the coconuts outside. I think that's fantastic. Yes, Rohit.
Yeah, Prema, this is Rohit. First of all, I have to say that, you don't have the typical look of PR guys. You look like, another Mother Teresa. Yeah, these guys generally have no over-the-top looks and attitude, but you seem to be very down-to-earth. Now, my question to you is, the small organizations who cannot afford the PR agencies, how do they themselves take care of their PR? And second question is, how do you ensure that your PR agency is delivering what they promise? Because sometimes the tall promises are made, but at the time of delivery, it doesn't happen.
Second question first. Is that measurable objective. You start with a measurable objective. And measurable means absolutely measurable. So I'll tell you one, I went for a training once to Paris, and there was this thing about measurable objective. And the example they gave is that if you think your business is good enough to be on the front page of Economic Times, that's measurable. Was it on the front page or not? That is what it is. So we started learning this about I think about 15 years ago, about measurable objective. And we worked on that. So we come up with, we agree with the client. And we also say that if we achieve 70%, then we get a certain score. We have a service quality index with the client. They actually, it's done by them. So we send it by, it's like a question and answer, but they put the answer, that's the numbers, and the bonuses to the teams come from that. So if it's on a scale of 1 to 5, so you understand, we agree on the objective. So the thing is, you can't always get 100%. It's sometimes impossible, but there are cases where the team gets 5 out of 5. So if they get 4, 3, 2, so for example, then they have to improve on something where they are got less than 3. So that is the answer to the second question, if that answers your
Yeah, absolutely. That
query.
is quite measurable.
The first
And
one
tangible
was
also.
how do you do PR?
Yeah.
Small organizations who can't afford, SMEs, who can't afford PR. Or is it a myth that they are expensive? What is it? How do you clear that?
If you're a smaller company, there are small companies now, that PR companies, startups. They did small, say they're one person who do for few, maybe 7, 8, 10 clients. My suggestion is that if you're within an area like, let's say Bombay, there are 8 or 10 or even sometimes 5 or 6, depending on the sector you are, the people who write on that subject. You should know them personally, and that's it. Instead of waiting for somebody to do it, understand your business, go out. And when you actually help the journalist understand your subject and what you're doing, what you're achieving, what's the trend in the market, the trends are very important. You give them information about the sector without expecting anything. Then they really appreciate the relationship. And it's all right to do that. You're not paying. You never should do that ever, and nobody does want to do that these days. It used to be very much rampant in the past, but now it's become better, hopefully. So I think that's the way, is to...
So more than money, the relationships matter.
Definitely. Definitely.
Relationship, and at a smaller scale, probably people will want to do their own PR. That's what you recommend.
So one is that you can go to a smaller company. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not.
Okay.
But otherwise, you yourself should maintain those relationships with those people. Okay. There are 5 or 6 or 7 who have the maximum impact on your business.
My view is that we seem to undersell India abroad. In terms of business sense, if we would, or the government, utilize your expertise, notably the Indian Foreign Service, for selling India more, how would you propose to do it?
Unfortunately, we don't have campaigns outwards. It's a problem, because I have been involved in some. There's no what you say, maza, because the campaign is not strategic, it's tactical. And if you do tactical, you don't know what you're trying to achieve.
Case in point is our military-related productions or the capabilities are undersold to the bare minimum level, which would actually help leapfrog our economy in whichever way. And the other subsidiary point is, during our visit, to the African continent, at particular place in Kenya to a game reserve, the road was silken smooth and it was a very well structured one. Had occasion to ask the defense attaché there. He said that this is made by the Chinese. From Beijing, they had garnered the market there, a communist country. And I'm sure with the kind of expertise we have, the leverage or the associations with the global measures, the government would stand a good way, and I would propose that you put up a particular bidding with the Ministry of External Affairs, or maybe with the next incoming, hopefully, very progressive government, to utilize for the betterment of India.
You know what the policy is. That's the problem.
with the incoming government. Yeah.
So, the thing is that, of course, international companies want to come and invest here. So that's fine. It creates jobs, everything is okay. But when you look at outward, we have a Africa-India advisory board in our organization. We're trying to do things between Africa and India. It's limping right now. I think neither Africa is ready nor India is ready. However, there is going to be a summit in the next few months, and they have that every year here with under CII or other people. It's going to be a long journey. We don't, as a country, we are not got the strategy in place in the first situation, is that we must know what is it that we want to achieve. and then go about we should do to get to that strategy, to realize it. That's the sad part of it. But I guess that will come slowly.
I think India as a government doesn't have the policy for a PR agency advocating what they are doing or what they are thinking, because most of the developed countries always have a PR agency in place which does communication with the masses and the rest of the world on what the government is doing, the policies, the advantages. So they showcase themselves in a very nice way which attracts a lot of international opportunities. I think India is yet to do that.
It's a long way away.
I think your Burson Marsteller itself is the PR agency to a lot of developed countries in the world who does this.
Yeah, they're doing a lot in Latin America and all over, Indonesia, all over the place. I think our time has not yet come, because even government to government is something that is done, but it is more mature. And Indian government of India has retained people in US and all. It's not that they have not. Sometime maybe in the future it will work.
In the near future, I think it would be happening.
What I am suggesting is the provisions of last few years have been put in place. I am repeating, put in place to hire professionals, not just in the military, but also in the government, I presume, but military they are there, and with quite a decent corpus available to the executive to engage. So that's what I was suggesting, that if presentations come the right way, say just to the military or to the government, it would break new roads to. It's from your side it comes. So since you're in Delhi and the government's there.
He's a high-ranking naval officer, so it's really one of his concerns there. Mr. Sikwara wants to ask a question. Yes.
In spite of good and hard work done by PR agencies, the general perception in India is PR agencies nothing but lobbying. Okay, now for that I am giving two examples. One is about retail, FDI retail. There is told that Walmart has appointed some PR agency, lobbied and all that whole thing. Second, another example is radio tapes. So the perception is how to remove that perception, that too for those companies who are doing sincerely good PR. Thank you.
Yeah, so lobbying is a global thing. Even you will, every one of us lobby for something, whether from our boss, whether from our parents, whether from our children, we lobby to get something done. So there's nothing wrong with lobbying as long as it's not about paying money. So lobbying means that you want something changed, and so you will lobby for it. That's about it. There's nothing more to it. So you think India doesn't lobby for visas and all of that in US, for technology companies and all of that? And vice versa, it happens. So it happens everywhere, and it's all right. As far as Neera Radia, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be able to comment on the facts of it. There's still a lot to come out. So these things, are things that happen. There's sectors in the service sectors. There is anywhere where you can, if you do something which is not correct, and I'm not saying that she is incorrect, it's not yet known completely. But there are all kinds of services, there are kinds of people, different strategies, different things that they want to do as services to be provided. So nobody knows yet whether she was in the wrong or not. So I can't comment on that.
Yes, Vanan.
Your understanding about people is beautiful. So I exactly want to know, what do you look into a person when you hire a person? Apart from the person not wanting money or things like that.
So I never ask them about their skills. I don't ask them, can you write a press release? Nothing. I ask them, tell me something about yourself, about your parents, about whatever. Tell me what was a difficult situation that you were in. I like the strength, the inner strength of a person, the honesty, and so I ask, what do you want to achieve in life? And the achievement is, there are some people saying, I want to do your job. Telling me, I said, okay, that'll take a little while. I don't mind that.
The parameters for that are a little different.
No, but you know, I like that young girl, and I thought she had the courage to say that. And there are those who come here to say, you know, I'm going to learn a lot, and all. It's okay, you're going to learn a lot, but what next? What are you going to do? Give them situations and see them. I think that's the important thing. And again, I go back to this thing about respect. Again and again, I go back to it. My son is 35. He comes here, and the drivers have been with us for 20 years, 15 years, whatever. And he will say, because obviously they've been with us for so long. So our son will say, Keval ji, aap kaise ho, bacche kaise hain, kya kar rahe hain? And he will give them advice कि you know इसको ये करना चाहिए वो करना चाहिए दुनिया में ये तरक्की है नहीं है whatever. And I must tell you, my driver Keval is completely illiterate, and his daughters are MBAs. One is in New Jersey, and one is in. I mean, these are the stories I really want. I am going to create a my story as soon as I'm halfway through this year. After in the second thing is his son is a software guy.
Is it because he's working with the right bosses?
I think this man, you know, so he would say, you know, I'll give you an example. He came one day and he said, Babita is such a intelligent girl. She's paying her way to studies. She's an MBA. She did BA, then MA, then MBA, and she did it on her own. I only supported her. And so she said, I told her, I said, you know, Babita, I'm so proud of what you achieved, you know. I mean, these are the stories of India, actually. And so I said, one day Keval came to me and said, you know, the family is saying she can't marry this boy in her office. I said, why? So, because I said, he's not Haryanvi, because they are Haryanvis. I said, not Haryanvi. Haan, magar wo dusra jaat ka hai. I said, jaatvaad kya hai? I don't understand all of this. So he says, you know, you won't understand because you've not been born in that family. So I said, okay, call your family. So we called the whole family home. We sat in the sitting room. We had tea and all. So I said, so Babita, when are you going to get married? You've done all this MBA and all. Now you're working for Xerox and, you know, whatever. So she said, she looked at her parents and she laughed and she said that my parents are not allowing me to. So I said, why are they not allowing you? Because, you know, he belongs to some other jat. I said, anyway, I don't know what that is. I don't want to know what it is. So she said, so I said, so what are you going to do? So I don't know. So I said, you do what I did. So she said, what did you do? I said, I ran away.
You are advising the wrong guy. He's on the threshold of getting married.
Do exactly what you want. Because my father made up with me 48 hours later. And he's very proud till the day he died. So I think, you know, these things have to change. The change is what people is scared about. And there's nothing to be scared because change is happening every minute in our lives, all of us. But when it comes to our children, you know, we don't want them to do this and we don't want them to do that. So I think, you know, it's more a deeper relationship that one has to have. I've been a tough mother, but I can tell you, I mean, despite all that I'm saying, I've been a very tough mother. I don't know whether it was good or not, but they've come out okay.
She was so tough that her daughter married a Britisher and her son married a Chinese. So they are truly a global family. The Swiss Connect, the London Connect, and the China Connect. How come all of you all selected the right countries?
If I had few more kids, I would have few more countries under my...
Yes, Sangeeta, come.
Good evening, ma'am. I would like to know your thoughts on ethical PR.
I really don't know what to say about that because that is our, I mean, it's part of our DNA. So there's no two ways about it. I'll tell you, we do a survey every year with media about how we are evaluated. And there was one year where there was a dip. I was really worried on ethics. I was really worried there was a dip. So I decided that I have to know what went wrong there. So I figured out which journalist had given that dip. And so I rang him up and I said, can I come and see you? I went there. So he said that your colleague promised me an exclusive. Exclusive means you give it only to them and to that story and not to anybody else. So he said he was very upset because the same story was given to somebody else as well. So I was quite upset. I said, okay, first and foremost, it's my apology. And I'll make good that and I'll come back to you. So I came back and I spoke to this person. I said, okay, doesn't matter what you've done. I only want to understand why it was done. He said, nowadays, this colleague said, nowadays, we give an exclusive to television and we give an exclusive to print. I said, wrong. Did you say that to the person? So he said, no. So I said, because a lot of PR companies are doing that, and he came from somewhere. So he said that, it's a done thing. Not here, not here. If you want to do it, tell the journalist that you're doing, this is the print journalist, I will be doing television, which is separate. If there's an agreement, please put it down in email that this is what we've agreed to. It's a tough job to watch out on everybody. So there can be mistakes, but yes, your mantra has to be very clear. If you are not going to do this work, this ethical PR, you won't survive.
Yes, Raj, your question?
See, the way I say it, the PR company's job is that almost similar to that of a lawyer. Is to represent the client's interest to society at large, to stakeholders, to the government. If you are faced with a situation, and you may choose not to answer this if you don't wish to, but if you are faced with a situation where you have to take up something which is not ethical, though it might be in the interest of your client. So for example, if Pepsi or Coke gets into something wrong, and then you have the job of putting things right from a society perspective for them. You know within that, what you are sending out to the society is not right. So how do you handle such situations? That's my question.
How do you handle Dharam Sankat in short?
So there are two things actually what you said. There are two areas there. One is that when we take a client, we work on retainer. Very few projects. We do more retainer, so it's year by year. And we have clients who, our first client is still with us. So what we make sure is that we've done our homework before we take a client. We are very clear that what we will do and we won't do. So there are many companies that say, but you also have to do this, this, this. And you say, no. No question about it. So we walk away from that. And that's our choice. The other thing is that working for an ethical company, and these days they say there's no such thing as an ethical company. Something is happening somewhere, sometime. But okay, so say we've done our work and we say this is an ethical company to work for. They can make a mistake. Then we do definitely help them go through it. Sometimes we get outside consultants to work along with us from consulting firms when there is a situation where we need to sort out something. Because one person, and it is, I can tell you so many stories, but one person makes a mistake and a whole organization is in trouble. I went to Calcutta to this company, which I was so fond of them because they were so ethical and everything. And I said to the CEO, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, so tell me, what is that? He says, we are so ethical, we are this, we are that, and all of that. And I said, so what about that man who is sitting, that person who is sitting in the factory, and I named the place because they had about 8 factories. And I said, that person in that factory has made a wrong decision. Then can you still say you're ethical? You don't know whether you're ethical. Are those 3,000 people ethical? 2 weeks later, CEO calls me. He said, you knew something? I said, knew something about what? About this guy in whatever has done something ethical? I said, no. I just took that as an example. He says, this is what he's done. When the goods were going in and going out, how many went out and whatever? So it didn't match. and the company was in trouble because the inspector landed up at the factory. So now, do you say that's an unethical company? No, it was a mistake. It happened. Somebody did it, and you've got to help them through it. So we are like doctors sometimes. Lawyers, I'm still scared of.
I'm sure your lawyer husband must be having a different answer. PR companies are I'm scared of. Dr. Vrajesh. Dr. Vrajesh.
Good evening, madam. First, since you are talking about healthcare, I am from healthcare. We have few hospitals. And I wanted to know, we follow our conventional HR policies where job description is one of those important things. And you have absolutely removed that. You do not much believe in go in detail of job description. That is one. And second is, what do you suggest for hospitals in PR activities? The other two questions.
So job description in hospitals is very important.
Otherwise, the hard guy will do the eye surgery.
So, you know, this is a different sector.
PR for the hospitals.
PR for hospitals, we do actually. I believe that we must talk about diseases. That is the most important thing, because people just don't know where to go, what to do, where. So the people are going to come to you because you understand whether, as I said, you know, tuberculosis or cancer or heart or whatever, is that, you know, if you're the expert, people will come to you. And that is where I'm finding a lot of hospitals, whether in Delhi or Gurgaon, when you're looking at these hospitals, they are known for certain expertise. And people go to only heart hospitals, and they go to cancer hospitals, and they go to other doctors for other things. So I think, you know, that's the advice I would give, is that pick up your 3 or 4 expert areas and promote those rather than anything else.
Rather than the hospital.
So
people will automatically come in.
Doctors cannot be promoted, but hospital with their facility can be promoted.
Yeah.
And can you suggest some local, at least within those budgetary things, local PR?
In Bombay?
Yeah, Mumbai. Yeah.
So I will have to find out, because there are people who are doing only healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare.
Actually, we have just tied up. They don't do communications. They do medical doctors and reps and all of that. All the medical side, known as medical communications, and we actually do the communication part. So they actually don't do communications through media, websites, and all of that. So we've just partnered with them, and we, you know, have a very nice partnership where they do the entire medical part and we do the other.
So you are talking about the press communication to digital communication,
press and government policy, press, and also digital. You know, all the entire communication.
We'll be keenly interested in this. Thank you.
We can talk about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Geeta.
It's like in similar lines. And what is your recommendation for PR for a real estate company, especially in a tier 2 place when it's coming up?
Most difficult. It's really difficult. I think we have to look at real estate as what is the benefit people are going to get. It's not about anything else, but what is it that is going to be benefited to the people who are, supposing you're going to do a housing sector, or you're going to do what are you going to do with that? But if you're doing pure, I mean, I have not done the real estate because it's a bit tricky. Because there's a lot of ambiguity. It's not very open, transparent. So we don't know what we are going to
dealing with.
Yeah, dealing with. And that's a challenge, actually. That's very difficult. If you're selling commercial space, then I think that's the only thing that I can see. I've not worked in this sector. We've stayed away from it because we don't understand the sector, and it's very finance also. We don't do much on finance side. We do press releases for companies who do financial results and all, but we don't do much on that sector.
So friends, with that, I think we have come to the conclusion of asking questions. And Prema, thanks a lot. Can we all put our hands together for Prema? So I will request Mr. Henry Lobo to give a small memento. to Prema, and next time I visit your office, I'm going to have coffee in this cup. I would like to request Shugra to give this special plaque. We need to post some pictures together. Yeah. Come, Mr. Lobo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I'm really honored to do this vote of thanks. I would like to thank Prema Sagar for coming here and sharing all whatever she did. I think the only regret is it's over in 2 hours. Because whatever she's got to share, I think can go the entire day and still we'll feel, oh gosh, it was over in 1 day. And you were so warm, so beautiful. A lot of takeaways for all of us. I've kept on noting all of it and it was amazing. I'm going to get your card and start calling you and mailing you to get some more clarifications. And all of us, I'm sure, wanted to ask more questions. But yeah, the mail IDs are going to be there. You can flood all of your questions over there. And Rajesh, fantastic show as usual. If Mr. Sagar had not said that, I would have said that. How in the world you managed to remember all of this? Numbers, names, events, dates. Oh my God, my head was going. Thank you very much. It was a lovely evening.